The most credible thing that Google can show about you isn't your reviews, it isn't your website, and it's not even a viral post. Believe it or not, it's actually a Google Knowledge Panel. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it takes to get one for either you or your business. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jordan, for those of you that are new here. And today I want to walk you through what I believe is the most credible asset that Google can show about you. So let's jump right into it. So number one, what even is a Google Knowledge Panel? It's this box that appears under, like I mentioned before, politicians, celebrities, musicians, entrepreneurs, actors. You've probably seen them dozens of times without even knowing what exactly they're called, but that's what it is, Google Knowledge Panel, or in short, just a knowledge panel. And how it works is Google pulls everything together that it knows about you in one place. So it's going to be things like your name, your title, your social profiles, any kind of notable achievements or work that you might have done throughout your career. Google's basically saying that we know and trust this person across the web to where we're going to show this knowledge panel predominantly. And just to clear any confusion, there are a couple of types of knowledge panel. You're going to have your individual knowledge panel, so entrepreneurs, musicians, athletes, politicians. And then you're also going to have your business Google Knowledge Panel. And that's going to look something similar like this. We're just going to use Nike as an example here. This is going to vary, guys. Keep that in mind. No two Google Knowledge Panels are going to be identical specifically for businesses, but give or take, this is what they're going to look like. It'll be the company names. If they have a Google My Business as well, the star ratings will appear. They're going to have probably like a 50 to 60 bio. If they have a Wikipedia page, it's also probably going to pull from that. But it'll list out CEO, CFO, CMO, all of the different profiles within the company. And then it's going to list out their social medias. Now, again, this might vary from company to company, but give or take, this is pretty much exactly what it's going to look like here. Adds kind of that extra layer of credibility. So you've seen these dozens of times. Now you know what they're called. The good news is these Google Knowledge Panels are not specifically reserved just for these kind of people, right? High profile individuals or businesses. The difference is you just have to earn it. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. Number two is going to be, why does it even matter? Think about when someone Googles your name or before signing a contract or hiring you externally, what they see in those first few seconds is either going to A, build trust, or B, completely kill it. And so a Google Knowledge Panel completely changes the equation. It signals authority, it signals legitimacy, and it tells whoever is searching that Google essentially recognizes you or your business as a notable entity worth knowing about. And again, that's not something you can buy with an ad. That's not something you can fake with your website. It has to be earned. Furthermore, it also feeds directly into AI overviews. So when tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, or even Google's AI mode describes your business, a Google Knowledge Panel strengthens the accuracy and authority of what gets surfaced. And that matters big time, especially in 2026 and onward. My third point is not everyone can get it. There's often some misconception, misunderstanding around this topic. And this is where most people get frustrated. They often see a Google Knowledge Panel. They think, I want that, right? It's a vanity metric sometimes. They'll take to Google and might search something like how to get a Google Knowledge Panel, how can I qualify? And they end up running into a wall because there's no clear answer on it. And it's not like you can just go to Google, pay Google, and then 2 weeks later, you have this knowledge panel that pops up when someone searches your name. It simply just doesn't work that way. Google decides when there's enough credible, consistent information about you across the web to justify creating one. And so that means if you're relatively unknown online, right? If you have a low profile online, very low visibility, your name doesn't appear in any trusted publications, there's no interviews, third-party mentions, etc. Google just simply won't create one. The good news is that is fixable, and I'm going to walk you through kind of what that looks like. It does take quite a bit of work and it does take time. So my fourth point is going to be what Google actually looks for. So what does it actually take, right? We understand we can't just pay Google and Google sets it up in 2 weeks and we're ready to go. You know, you can't really fake it with your presence or your website and whatnot. But there are a few things that Google does need to see before it's even confident enough to build a panel around you or your business. So the first is going to be PR coverage. Could be articles, blog posts, interview podcasts or interview shows, things like that. Google really needs third-party sources talking about you independently. And so second is going to be verified social profiles. So it's going to be like your LinkedIn, your Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Crunchbase, all of that needs to be verified. And so they need to be consistent, active, and linked back all to the same entity. And so number three is actually going to be entity consistency, meaning your title, your bio, your profession, your notable work, achievements, All of that needs to be identical across every platform you currently appear on or are active on. The moment there's inconsistency, Google loses trust. Plain and simple, it's just how it works. Fourth is going to be same as reference. And what I mean by that is this is when there's multiple authoritative sources all point to the same person. It's going to be things like a Crunchbase profile, LinkedIn, even a Forbes feature, all referencing the same individual with the same information. That's when Google starts connecting the dots. That's kind of when all of those mentions all fall into the same puzzle. They all fit like a puzzle, we could say. And something I want you to note, Wikipedia can actually play a huge role in that, but it's not a deal breaker. It's not going to be a make it or break it type situation. It's certainly not mandatory, but it is useful if you do have a Wikipedia page. And that's going to be an entire separate topic talking about that, because there are certain requirements that not everyone's going to even qualify to get a Wikipedia page. So we'll just leave that out for the sake of the video. It's not mandatory in getting a Google Knowledge Panel. And then my last point, number 5, how to start building towards a Google Knowledge Panel. The good news is there is a clear path. You don't have to be famous to start. You don't have to be some celebrity, actor, musician, politician. You don't have to be Cristiano Ronaldo. You just have to be consistent and strategic about how you show up online. And so there's a few ways to go about that. Start with all of your social profiles. Make sure that every single one has the same name, the same title, same profile picture, same bio, same about us. All of that has to be identical. Lock that entity down across every platform that matters. And like I said before, across every platform that you currently appear on or are active on. Next is going to be get press. And I've talked about this in a couple other past videos, but getting press is going to be one of the fastest ways to also qualify you for getting a Google Knowledge Panel. Even mid-tier publications count, so don't be afraid to kind of cast your net wide, as long as they're relevant to your niche, to your industry. A feature in an industry blog, a guest article, or even a podcast interview is going to help you out tremendously. So every third-party mention that references you by name and links back to your other profiles strengthens the entity signals that Google is actually searching for. And just so you guys have a quick example, Robert Kiyosaki is a good example of this. He's got quite a bit of PR about him. This is all recent, by the way. We have one 17 hours ago, 3 days ago, a day ago. But you'll notice he's on some pretty notable PR sites like Yahoo Finance, Fathom Journal, Money.com, MSN, The Street, The Economic Times. These are some pretty big ones. Again, going back to, you don't have to have the top tier PR sites to even qualify for a Google Knowledge Panel, but it's just kind of casting your net and getting those third party mentions and getting people talking about you, editors and whatnot. So the point here is to create that strong entity signal of you or your business. The more places across the web that reference the same consistent information about you, the more confident Google becomes that you are who you say you are. And by no means is this something that happens overnight. It does take time, it does take consistency, and it takes quite a bit of effort, but it is possible, and it is going to lay that foundation that's going to eventually trigger Google to create that Google Knowledge Panel about you. So guys, there you have it. Basically just walking you through what I think is the most credible asset that Google can show about you. Just something from my own experience. Anytime I see a Google Knowledge Panel tied to someone's name, a business's name, it automatically kind of builds that layer of trust, credibility that, okay, these guys are the real deal. They're obviously somebody notable. They've done some credible work, achievements, awards, things like that. So I know it's also can be a vanity metric for some business owners, CEOs, founders, which is understandable, right? At the end of the day, I think we could all say it's some sort of a vanity metric because it does boost credibility, but that's beside the point. And we've actually been able to help dozens of individuals and business owners get their Google Knowledge Panels. There's quite a bit of work and effort that goes into it. But maybe you even have enough PR and coverage and third-party mentions and all of your socials are verified. And that does increase your chances significantly of getting that Google Knowledge Panel. So I'll drop a link in the description box down below. It'll take you to our website. We'd be happy to evaluate to see where you at and if that is something, in fact, that you can obtain. But that's all I got for you today, guys. I hope you liked the video. Hopefully it was informational. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Feel free to like, subscribe, all of that jazz. And I'll see you in the next video, guys.